What's going on, everyone? I'm just your typical average Canadian nerd here to react to your new typical average American man's video, reacting to, what is it called? Signs that you are Canadian. And this is today's video he has released, and so today I am reacting to this one as I watch it, which is now instead of 9 months later, which is kind of what I've been up to lately. But I figure if he keeps going every day and I'm 9 months behind, I'm always going to be 9 months behind, and then it's always going to be 9 months ago and 9 months ago and 9 months ago. Even in 9 months, I'll be saying 9 months ago when I react to today's video in 9 months in the future. So I don't want to keep doing that. Today we're going to go with today's video about signs that you might be Canadian. So this will be interesting. Let's get this picture out of the way and watch the video.
What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical
Whoa.
average American here today to react and learn about signs that you are a Canadian.
Wow, that is very different from his 9 months ago introduction. Let's keep going.
I think this will be very, very helpful for me in case I ever find myself needing to identify a Canadian in the wild. It's kind of like when an American goes on vacation to another country.
Okay, I was
kind of like start being really loud.
See, I was gonna think about this whole Second World War anti-Japan sentiment, thinking like you gotta spot the Canadian and get them taken away. Like, wow, what does the future hold for us?
Or ask for 5 extra sugars in my coffee, please, and extra cream.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly, everyone in the area turns their head and it's like, American, I spotted American, and we kind of
so that explains the quadruple, and quintuple orders that I've heard at Tim's lately. Oh, geez, those are a lot of sugar.
go, and then scurry off. We scurry off to our next tourist destination. Yes, you know that whole scenario happens all the time.
Yeah, that old chestnut.
I'm actually quite excited for this discussion here, this Reddit discussion, because it's not just going to be some list of boring, overdone Canadian stereotypes, I think.
Oh,
but
please.
rather, this is a question that is being answered by Canadians. Canadians are going to tell me some signs that you're a Canadian, which I think will actually be very funny and insightful, lighthearted. Maybe even some truth, some education to this.
It's like those "you might be a redneck" jokes, right? Ah, okay, I get it.
Some utility in case I ever need to spot a Canadian. Oh, found you.
Okay.
So I'm actually quite excited to see what some of the answers to this were. So starting with, what are some signs that you are Canadian? Please help me complete this list. 1, you hear H-O-M-O. Homo, and you realize you forgot to buy milk?
Yeah.
I've never heard homo or H-O-M-O if it's an acronym.
No, it's homo, short for homogeneous.
And milk. Really? In the same sentence.
Or homogenized. It's like full fat.
Or connected, I should say. If I Google this, well, what is even gonna come up if I Google this? Okay.
You gotta have the word milk.
Homo and milk.
There you go.
Homo milk. I never thought I'd be Googling that, but here we are. Homo milk. Wait, is this actually a thing in Canada? What does homo milk mean? Yes, please. People have asked this before, apparently. I'm not the only one. Homogenized milk, meaning shaken up so the fat solids combine with the liquid. It's short for homogenized. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know the word homogenized. We don't have homo milk written on our cartons or H-O-M-O.
What do you have on your cartons?
Like that. Okay, that actually wasn't sure where that one was going. But
Nothing,
that makes a lot of sense. I don't necessarily think of milk when I see that word, but I might now. I might from now till the end of time.
I think Homo sapien, which like the thinking like us.
Okay. Number 2. -8 Celsius isn't cold. -20 Celsius is cold.
Fair.
-8 Celsius is what? Fahrenheit? Come on. I need American units
There you
here,
go.
please.
17.6 freedom units.
17? I didn't even know 17 was a number on the temperature scale.
Oh my.
Negative 20 is. Hold up.
Much colder.
Negative 20 Celsius to Fahrenheit.
What, 0?
No, not 20. Negative. Negative 4?
-4, okay.
Okay. See, when Fahrenheit gets to the negatives, it's like not even real. I can't even picture that. That's not
it's
real.
cold.
-8 isn't cold. Okay, so freezing your butt off isn't cold. Freezing your whole butt and backside and legs and toes off is cold. Because I imagine that's what happens at negative 20.
So, okay, so -8, you can go out there with shoes and socks. You can have pants and a sweater and maybe a light jacket. You'll be okay. -20, on the other hand, you're going to need a coat.
Celsius. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Very Canadian, though. I mean, that's I often find myself wondering, how cold does Canada actually get? Because,
colder.
A lot of Americans think Canadians are genuinely living in igloos, like in Ottawa or something, you know?
We don't, but I understand y'all think so, and that's okay. We like it when you think that we're all ride dog sleds, live in igloos, eat seal meat, and have mohawk haircuts.
Or even in places that are really south.
Like,
so my kind of
me.
perspective on what temperature Canada is at all times of the year, plus it's in Celsius, not Fahrenheit, is kind of skewed.
It's confusing,
it
scares
me.
Got to do the math.
-4 Fahrenheit. No. That's not that's not real. I didn't read that. No. You can say, want to go skating without having to add the word ice. Yeah. That actually, I've seen enough about like hockey and stuff explained to me in regards to Canada that I noticed that skating or even hockey doesn't have the word ice in front of it.
Correct.
Whereas in America, you specify ice hockey, ice skating.
No, see, we'd have to specify roller skating or ball hockey.
If you said skating, that would, I mean, in the United States, that would more often than not mean rollerblading.
Yeah.
Skating on wheels or something. And you've never heard anyone say a boot, except foreigners, when they joke about Canadians. Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so that is a thing, but also, if you pay very close attention to the way that people say the word about, you'll hear the oot sound. It's very subtle, and they don't even know they're saying it, but you call them out, and they'll be like, I don't say it that way, but you heard it.
That's a big one I had to learn. It actually kind of made me sad at first, because that is like, for Americans, one of the de facto Canadian identifiers, which actually that's actually really nice that it's in this discussion of what are some signs that you're Canadian. Not that you say a boot. That is not a warning sign.
Okay, no, it's that you've never heard a Canadian say a boot, and that's because of our ingrained accent, right? So we hear it so often that we don't even notice the oot sound. We just hear the out, and it's the people who aren't used to hearing it the way we say it, they hear the oot sound because it's very subtle, but it's there. So if you've never heard the oot, that's because you're so used to it, you don't even notice.
Warning, Canadian in the vicinity. That is not a sign of a Canadian.
It is, though.
Canadians do not say a boot, have never said the
boot. It's close. You listen, you'll hear it.
I still contend that there's like a boat, but not a boot. No boots in here, except
almost.
Kind of rarely in some places. Basically.
I've heard it. A lot of people.
I never heard anyone say a boot except foreigners when they joke about Canadians. True. Very true.
It's there.
I used to be one of those. I get pissed when certain American podcasters attempt Canadian accents, and they sound like people from North Dakota and Minnesota.
That's fair. Yeah,
seriously, true. North Dakota and Minnesota. That's kind of the, oh, hey there, buddy. Oh, how you doing? I was just about to go to, to Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Even sounds, you can't help but say it like that when you say it. Okay. Very true.
Yeah?
Americans have no right to poke fun at our accents while they continue to pronounce roof like roof. Roof. Ah, yes, there are some places that say roof.
Yeah. But look, the two countries are so unimaginably big that you're going to have a lot of dialects and different accents from one part to the other. And I think a great Canadian example is Newfoundland. Do I need to say any more?
I know some people who say rough. I've heard that before. I've always said roof, but Americans definitely will say rough from time to time. That's all right. You got us. You got us. 10 degrees in August is freezing.
Yes.
10 degrees in April is t-shirt weather.
Yes.
What does that mean? What's 10 degrees? I gotta do a lot of translating here. 10 degrees, 50 degrees. That's 50 is, it's a little chilly in America.
It's all about context. If you're used to really warm and suddenly it's 10, then that's cold. If you're used to really cold and suddenly it's 10, oh, that's nice and warm.
I would say most people would consider 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit, a bit chilly, but it's not like 40 degrees where you need your jacket or hoodie on. 50, I mean, you're not having a t-shirt out in 50. Except maybe in Canada you are, especially apparently in April in Canada. Wait.
Yes, in the spring, if it's 10 degrees, I'm wearing pants. If it's the spring and it's 10 degrees, I'm wearing shorts. Big difference.
10 degrees in August is freezing. I agree, 50. And then 50 degrees or 10 degrees Celsius in April is t-shirt weather. Oh, somehow it just changes.
Very accurate.
I think I understand kind of the joke here. Or maybe it's not a joke.
No,
it's a phenomenon.
It is a joke, and it's real.
4 seasons all one day during those months. This isn't a joke. Huh.
It happens.
Depends on the time of year. Because in April, it's like supposed to be warmer. In August, it's like, okay, it's okay if it's cold. So it's t-shirt weather by default in April, just out of principle, maybe. It's my understanding there are 7 seasons in Newfoundland, sometimes on the same day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about the weather really is a thing and not a generic greeting.
Yeah, truly.
I wouldn't call it a greeting in the United States. I mean, talking about the weather in the United States is considered cliche small talk.
And here it's like legitimate talk, like we can actually have a full conversation about the weather and there's nothing small about it.
Like, you literally have nothing to say if you're asking or commenting about the weather.
If we're talking about the weather, we've got something to say.
It's almost like an inside joke talking about the weather. But in Canada,
no, we're telling a story.
It's talking about the weather like real. It's not just to say something for the sake of saying something.
That's right.
Okay, that's actually good to know. I can fall back on. I've made a habit of not bringing up the weather because it's kind of like saying you don't know what to say. But in Canada, talk about the weather all day, no problem.
Absolutely. Like, we've all got stories where, let's say there's this one time when I was living in Canada, that's the west end of Ottawa, where there was a snowstorm. I was getting ready to go to work. I go outside, I notice my car is buried and the driveway is full of snow. So I shovel the driveway, get the snow out of the way, and then I brush off the car, and then I had to shovel the driveway, and then I had to brush off the car, and then I had to shovel the driveway, and then I had to brush off the car, and then instead of shoveling the driveway again, I just called into work because the day was a write-off.
Perfect. I hope this person isn't lying to me. Please. A friend who came from Jamaica talked about how when she heard Canadians like to talk about the weather, she thought that was weird. I mean, it's not, it's not normal, but it's not weird. To say it's weird, that's weird. I think talking about the weather's weird.
Hey, don't be judgmental. No, you're weird.
The weather was mostly always the same. Oh, is that what it is?
In Jamaica,
Canada, talking about the weather is interesting because it's like a lot more variance.
Yeah.
So, but in Jamaica, it's not. So it'd be strange to talk about the weather. Okay.
That's it.
The weather's very changeable in Canada. impacts what you wear
Yeah.
in your daily life. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense.
There are some days where it was so cold, we didn't have trouble getting to work, but we had to stay home to make sure that the pipes didn't burst from freezing.
I'm glad that was kind of described like that. That actually makes sense. You step on my foot, and I apologize for being in the way. Oh, gosh.
It happens.
That's kind of a Canadian stereotype that has a lot of truth to it, it seems like. Although I have heard, like, if someone steps on your foot and you apologize, like, that's almost a way of pointing out to the person that they should apologize, or it might just be sort of a social norm.
So there is that, the I'm saying sorry because you're supposed to be sorry, but there's also taking the sense of personal responsibility. Let's take, for instance, a recent story in the news of someone who was on a plane, and the stewards were walking by with the drink cart, and they bashed into that person's knee, and that person is suing the airline for the damage to their knee. In the Canadian mind, what was your knee doing in the aisle? No, that's not the cart's fault. That's your fault. And that's the same way where if someone steps on my foot because I'm out of line, I take personal responsibility and say, oh, sorry, I shouldn't have been there, right? And I think that's something a lot of people are ignoring these days. But let's continue.
That both apologize, and it's an act of mutual respect. In America, there is no apologizing when you are wronged. That's outrageous. No. But seriously, if someone stepped on my foot and I was me, which I am, and
okay. Yeah, fair.
I would not apologize. I don't know what I'd do. It'd depend on if they smashed my foot into the dirt with a steel-toed boot and flattened my toes into dust, or if they kind of bumped my foot.
And where was your foot when this happened, right? So there's that.
Assuming it was just a casual stepping on the foot, I'd be like, oh, or something like, I'd probably say, oops, or so, but, I'm not the meanest American in town.
Yeah.
I'm sure some Americans, if someone I saw got their foot stepped on and they were like, hey, or something like that, I wouldn't even think that was out of line.
Look,
I wouldn't even be like, hey, that person's crazy.
Right, so that has a lot to do with what was on their foot, right? I'm thinking back to sneakerheads back in the 90s, right? You scuff someone's shoe back then, you might get shot.
I'd be like, okay, they're annoyed that their foot was stepped on. But I always say with Americans, it's not that we're all rude and mean. There's just a larger variety of acceptable responses. If someone steps on your foot, as an American in America, you can be angry, and that you can be a little annoyed. You can be like, "Hey," or or "Watch it," and that'd be a little rude, but it wouldn't be crazy. Honestly, it wouldn't blow my mind. And if you're in a major city or something, like New York City, then you might get your foot stepped on as a response.
Fair.
No, I don't think it'd quite go that far, but I think they'd be pretty ticked, actually. Not have some nice words.
Especially a sneakerhead.
Definitely not apologize back to you. That is for sure. You walk into a glass door and apologize to the door. Okay. All right. Now we're just getting jokes out here.
Yeah,
Folks,
that's silly.
Use measuring units in the Canadian way? Measuring units in the Canadian way. What does that mean exactly?
It means we use a mix of imperial and metric, and it's kind of indiscriminate.
Canada, man, I tried to watch a video on this to explain to me Canadian units of measurement, and I found out Canada uses both empirical measurement, like Americans, and metric measurement for.
Okay, so let me put it this way. I weigh 180 pounds and I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall. My grocery store is 1 kilometer away where I buy a liter of pickles.
Some things. And that did not help me at all, aside the fact that now I'm aware of that. There's both kinds of measurements, but I can never remember how Canadians measure what. speed in kilometers or
Per hour.
temperature in Celsius.
And
I would not
Fahrenheit.
know what you measure.
Yeah, so Celsius is what we measure the ambient temperature of the air. Fahrenheit is when we're measuring water, like a pool or a hot tub.
Foods in, like grams or cups or gallons or liters or what. Just thinking about it, man.
Yes, cups, grams, liters, milligrams, milliliters, and sometimes ounces.
How far away is Punky Doodle's corner? It's about 40 minutes away. Okay. Calling things like 40 minutes away. People in America do that all the time. Because we generally think it takes about a minute to go a mile. If you're going 60 miles an hour, especially.
Yeah.
It's kind of common.
Math.
So we definitely say, instead of something's 10 miles away, you might say, yeah, it's about 10 minutes away. Yeah.
You know, here where I live, it's a small town, but I found that no matter where you go, it's about 10 minutes away.
The Canadians do that too. I don't know why people think this is a Canada-only thing. Yeah. So the mix of kilometers and miles, Celsius, Fahrenheit, is Canadian.
Yeah.
Saying something is 10 minutes away is common sense. Yeah, it is definitely true that that's an American thing as well. That's for sure. Heritage minutes are more effective teaching history than school was.
Absolutely.
Heritage minutes.
Oh, those little 1-minute videos.
I feel like I've seen Heritage Minutes mentioned on YouTube.
Look, remember that time you learned about the origin of basketball? That was a Heritage Minute.
I might have to look into that at some point.
I'm pretty sure you've watched some of them, Tyler.
For example, Canadians know who Dr. Penfield is by a TV commercial of him operating on a brain. And the iconic line,
I smelled burnt toast.
What, does the brain have to do with burnt toast or Heritage Minutes? Let me look that up. Heritage Minutes.
Okay.
Canada? What is this? It's a documentary. 1991.
Yeah, so we all know about the Halifax explosion, but we don't all know it by the name the Halifax explosion. If you don't recognize the Halifax explosion, remember the Heritage Minute with the giant explosion? Oh, now you know the Halifax explosion.
Each 60-second short film depicts a significant person, event, or story in Canadian history?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, what is this?
Watch them.
This actually seems extremely useful.
Yeah, they were good.
In 1991, starting in 1991, the Heritage Minutes have been shown on television and cinemas online and are a recognizable part of Canadian culture.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, there's 98 episodes here.
That's 98 videos for you.
That's fantastic. Wait, that's actually great. I'm going to have to react to some of those.
You should.
Or something.
You have.
Okay. This has been very useful to me. Heritage Minutes. And Canadians enjoy watching them, learning about them, and they are better than school history, apparently. Wow.
They taught a lot.
My partner watched them when he was getting ready for his citizenship test. Yeah, okay. Wow, that's cool. I don't think there's any real equivalent to, in America, like American heritage informative videos that I could point to. It's really cool that Canada did that, actually.
It was cool.
Oh, it was deleted. What is this? We went to a restaurant, asked for the bathroom. Very common vernacular. They were confused on what we meant. Canadians don't say bathroom. What do they say?
Washroom. Restroom.
Bathroom. Oops. For Canadians? Is that going to work? Bathroom? What do Canadians call bathroom?
Okay.
Yes. What is it?
You learned this 9 months ago.
Come on. Someone. Washroom? Why do Canadians call restrooms washrooms? Washrooms.
Because
I think that's right.
Wash our hands.
Canadians call bathrooms washrooms. Or restroom? In America, you might say restroom if you're being a bit formal. But 99 times out of 100, you'd say bathroom. Excuse me, where's the bathroom?
That.
But in Canada, that is washroom?
Yes.
That's very proper. I suppose you are doing some washing.
Well, you should.
You're not doing much bathing.
Not in public.
Yet we call it the bathroom. I mean, that's as far as our American brains went on that one. Bathroom. It's a little more aggressive, too. Where's the bathroom? Where is it? You know, we kind of
aggression.
Like
okay.
Like that.
Sure.
That's funny. When you base half of your beliefs on not being in the U.S., what exactly does that mean?
It's a common
base
thought.
Your beliefs on not being in the U.S. I know Canadians do not like being lumped in.
There you go.
With the United States.
That's it.
When people around the world are talking about stuff, which obviously makes complete sense, we're two completely separate nations. Half our personality to the world is we sound American but aren't. Okay,
right.
Stuff like that, where it's like a lot of annoying effort into being like, we're not America, we're Canada, that kind of thing.
Kinda, yeah.
As I posted below, a huge amount of the Canadian identity seems to be that we are not American. It's made worse when we trash talk the U.S. systems. Huh, interesting. A huge amount of Canadian identity seems that we're not American. Well, I don't know how true that is, but it is weird to hear stuff like that from my point of view, because Americans definitely don't have that problem where we're lumped in with something else. But if we were, that'd be extraordinarily annoying.
There you go. You see it? Yeah.
So I actually get it. And I feel like there's a lot of systems and policies in Canada that are done a lot better than in the United States.
Yeah.
Like healthcare and education.
Just because we're not American.
Isn't even a fair comparison to lump in the two nations together. Canada is actually exceeding America in certain attributes.
Many metrics, in fact.
Some recognition. So that can be frustrating, I imagine.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's a good point. Negative 20 isn't cold. Oh, here we go again. Negative 20. Negative 45 is cold. What kind of Canadian are you? Oh my. So they were responding to the original person who asked the original question. Negative 18 isn't cold. Negative 8 isn't cold. Negative 20 is cold.
All right, so minus 20 is cold. Minus 45 is also very cold. One does not take away from the other. They can both be cold.
And they're saying, what is cold to them? Negative 45?
Yeah.
Is actually cold?
That's really cold.
What is it? Negative 45?
That's the type of cold that goes through your coat.
Somehow Fahrenheit goes past Celsius when you get cold enough. Negative 49, I would instantly freeze and explode. And that's all there is to it. I'm not even going to think about negative 49.
Yeah, pretty accurate. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Respect to Canadians, even if it goes to negative 8 Celsius. Respect. Yeah. Negative 20. Negative 40, goodness gracious. Okay.
Yeah. Like, okay, so minus 40, minus 45. That's the type of thing you wear 2 pairs of socks, 1 thick pair of boots. Long underwear that are tucked into your socks. Big outerwear that is like pants that are also tucked into your socks. Then you've got snow pants that are tucked into your boots. You've got an undershirt, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, and a parka over top. You're wearing a scarf to cover your face. You've got a toque over top of your head. You've got a hood from your parka covering your everything. You've got gloves and then mittens over top, and you're still cold.
But besides that thought, this was very, very, very enjoyable. Signs that you are Canadian, these were very interesting, actually. I loved that it was Canadians chiming in, talking about some of the things that they identify with
just
as
a few
Canadians and that many Canadians identify with. That was really, really fun. And it wasn't just a bunch of boring, stereotypical Canadian things. It was actually a lot of interesting stuff. So
was it?
I'm going to be able to spot Canadians from a mile away now. So watch out.
Yeah, maybe.
I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well.
Oh, I did. Or if you enjoyed this one, give it a like.
And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada,
me reacting to him,
culture,
and what he learns.
Canada I've never learned
are the things that I have learned.
Feel free to subscribe.
Yeah.
For more.
Go ahead.
Until then. Thanks for watching. And see you next time.
Yes. Thank you very much for watching. I enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed it even a little bit as much as I did. I've been Jeff, also known as the Nerd Pope King. You've been awesome, and I hope you just keep being awesome. Bye.
Science. Spirit. Life. Nerd Pope King.